Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Gaurav Kumar, who is the co-founder of Myraahio, which is a no-code website builder platform. Hi Gaurav, welcome to ELI.
Yeah, hi.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Gaurav, and we are building a no-code platform for entrepreneurs to bring their businesses online. And Myra is all about creating digital identities for entrepreneurs who are not tech savvy, right? So if you look at number of users in India on the internet and number of websites, the ratio is around just 1%, right? But when you look at the same data in the US, it's about 40%. In China, it is 15%, and in UK, etc., is around 10-12%, right? So there's a huge gap, and possibly when we thought about that, we realized that some of the Western softwares people are using to create website is probably not suitable for the Indian audience, because not every entrepreneur here knows how to use technology, apart from just like uh, sliding on the Facebook and things like that, right? So and I think entrepreneurs in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, they're not able to find good developers, right? So how do you go about building your internet presence, or sort of a website is the first step into that. So from day one, we thought about the problem, and hence we created a solution which is very easy to use for people to come online and bring their businesses online. So that was the idea, and this is a hurdle faced by them, right? So they hire developers, they end up paying like a large sum of money to build a business website, right? So for example, a guy who owns a hotel, right, and he wants a website where customers can book online, right? So he goes to the developer and end up paying a large amount of money,
Mm.
right? So we solve that problem by bringing in AI and other algorithms which can actually do the coding for them, right? So you just go and select a design and you are done with it. So everything in the background is taken care of by the programs. If you like to
Okay.
think about from computer science perspective, the repetitive task or tasks which are a computer can do at scale and speed, right? So
Mm.
you should leverage that, right? So
Right.
that's what is our attempt, and basically we are also enabling it in 8 Indian languages, because see, our thesis is very simple. The internet of India will evolve, not like US, right, where all the websites are built in sort of
Mm.
Spanish or English, right? If you notice, Google started actually indexing vernacular content from 2019 when their Google Brain algorithm came into the picture, right? So now users are searching using voice search, right? So they are saying something in Hindi or Marathi and you get a result, right? But there are not very less number of websites built in a vernacular language,
Mm.
right? Now, as Google has started doing it, people will see benefit, right? Businesses will see benefit, right? Because there's a sort of white space SEO, space open for you to actually, explore, right?
Mm.
So second, that is the first thing. Second is that customers also, right, they do not understand English.
Right.
मतलब they ठीक है पढ़ लेते हैं but पूरा समझ में नहीं आता, but when you say in Hindi, right, they understand it, right? So basically the lot of content will be built like Europe, where you have like different languages of network coming together to build the internet for India. So that's what is the thesis, right? So it's not like going to be like America, but it's sort of मिले सुर मेरा तुम्हारा तो सुर बने हमारा sort of
Absolutely.
concept.
Absolutely. Coming back to the initial point that you mentioned, 40% of the US businesses have website, but only 1% in India. Can you tell us why website plays a vital role for a business or a business owner? Why is website required?
Well, if you think about that, internet when it came, it was mainly for sort of consumption of information, right? And then the transaction development happened.
Mhm.
Now, people have developed confidence by doing some of the e-commerce that it is safer to do transaction on the internet and easier to do transaction on the internet. You get to sort of research and not only buying from your local market, but you have a large open market open to you, and you can buy products, and things like that. Same applies for the services, right? Same applies for the services. If I support want to book a hotel, right? So before that, the platforms are there, right? But the business owner should also have an identity, should have their own identity. The reason is the platform falls, basically you fall with them, right?
Mm.
There were many app developers on the BlackBerry platform. They made a lot of money. When the BlackBerry went down, they were not even able to come to the Android, because Android just start hua, other people were already there, right?
Mm.
So that's the nature of platform business, right? So you are like doing all the business on the Facebook, right? Now the Facebook is going down, basically you will also go down. So do not create dependency on the platform. That is the one thing. you need to have your own presence, right? You have customers coming in, they will know about your website, they will directly come and book from you, right? So more you prevent people from going to Google and start a search and increase the competition. If the customer had a good experience, they'll directly come to your website and book a service, right? So the
Mm,
competition is not there, right?
mm,
So I think this is very critical stage where a lot of e-commerce is going to happen apart from the retail, right? Non-retail e-commerce, like as I mentioned, buying services and things like that. And now the Web3 is also coming, right?
mm,
And if the India, see, its point is very simple, that if all the entrepreneurs are not taken together, right, the whole digitization potential of India will not be achieved, right? So the whole country cannot become digital by just the people who are able to code and get benefit of the internet, right? So we have to bring all other entrepreneurs who are doing wonderful jobs, right? They should also have a digital presence on the internet. So that is what we are trying to do.
okay. Uh, Tell us a bit more about Myra.io in terms of what phase it is at, in terms of product evolution, and how many users are using the platform, or how many websites are being powered
Yeah,
by
so
the.
well, roughly we started 2.5 years ago. For the first 6 months, we were just building sort of, but we then started, then we launched a no-code platform for making simple websites, and now we have evolved to do sort of transactional sites as well, right? So database-driven applications can also be built on our platform. So we are currently focusing on hotel and real estate sort of enterprises. And now we are also going into Web3. So we are going to enable these users to launch their NFT or store their NFT or website in a Web3 environment, right? And sort of no code application for the Web3 as well. So that's the path we took. So one problem at a time. So you evolve to do, like, we can do a normal website. Why can't we do a database driven website, right? So there are a lot of tech challenges into that. So when you like sort of open up with one opportunity, then when you talk to the customers, they will tell, "Isme yahan pe ye nahi hota hai." Then you think through the problem and then you try to adapt to that. So there's quite a right now sort of a customer discovery stage, if you like. But we have 50,000 users who have used our services to create their digital identities, website, etc. We have a couple of free tools you can use, sort of finding a right domain name, right? So we have algorithm which will say that how pronounceable it is, how readable it is, how memorable it is, right? Because that is the name. So then you can play around with that. Then you can make a logo of for free, quite a scalable in a SVG format, right? So you can use at any scale. These are the free tools. Then we also built the core AI is about visual. So sort of there are a lot of tools which will tell you sort of how good the SEO of your website is, right? But there are no tools which will tell you how good looking your website is, right? Because आपने खुद से बनाया तो आपको तो अच्छा लग रहा है, but on an average basis, how is the color combination? Is there a difficulty in reading? Is the message is clear and things like that? So we have an algorithm developed which analyzes that and presents your result, right? It's called Visual Mind AI. So these are the tools basically. So basically, we are trying to take care of the UI and the US aspect of the website as well into the algorithm. So yeah, so that's what we do.
What are your thoughts on the recent developments like Facebook's metaverse, and what will happen to internet in next 5 to 10 years once the infrastructure is there for
Well,
people to.
see, the Facebook, I think users is going down. That's quite apparent, and it's moving towards Instagram, etc., and WhatsApp and things like that. If you look at any of these platforms, right, they have a lifetime. People get bored of it, right? And so the metaverse technology, I think, is far, far away, at least 10 years, right? Because
Mhm.
for a Facebook level scale to come in a metaverse, basically you need users to be equipped with all those equipments,
Mm,
right? And so that scale is not going to come. Facebook and Instagram picked up because of the smartphone, right? Because it was like you are using the phone, you bought a phone for phoning, and basically now you can also browse the internet, right? But metaverse, you need separate device. I think that tech at scale is far, far away in the future, and investors do realize that. Now, one thing, the shape of the internet evolve. If you think about sort of in the crypto and the Web3, I am quite confident that it is moving in that direction, right? So the current server architecture, etc., and sort of ownership and censored web, right? So people are worried about that. And basically, I think it will move in that direction, the Web3 sort of thing, where the internet is sort of a distributed network rather than own network where everything is hosted on GoDaddy or AWS and things like that, and people own a part of it, right? And so this is how, I think, in that direction it should go.
Okay. Now tell us a little bit about the evolution of the venture, and also a little bit on the journey of entrepreneurship that you have taken. How it all started? When did you think of becoming an entrepreneur, and how were the initial days of
So yeah,
entrepreneurship?
yeah. So well, it started in 2001. Actually, my affiliation to the internet is pretty old, right? So I was very curious about ये email क्या होता है. First, I thought like email is like a post box, right? So if I open my email account in this cyber cafe, then probably I need to go to that cyber cafe only to check the email, because that was my understanding, right? But then I realized that actually you can access those emails from anywhere, right? And
Mm,
so beautiful. Then you can chat to the people and things like that. So that got me very curious about internet. So I started self-learning. So I'm not a sort of a CS background guy, right?
mhm,
So I started self-learning. We did websites, etc., for college and things like that. And then I launched a sort of educational website and things like that, but never from the commercial perspective, but from just to disseminate knowledge and things like that. Our first venture, basically, you can say in 2012 was slight commercial angle. So we developed a software for in the education space, basically, to sort of evaluate the candidates' skills, right? So but at that point of time, students were not able to pay online or buy online, right? That behavior was not there, right?
mhm,
So वहाँ पे cash on delivery चल रहा था, right? So people were not buying the software. So probably we are like very ahead in time.
mm,
So the one lesson is that you should not be so technologically ahead that you are not able to get the market attention, right? So if you do it now, like a topper, etc., is doing, right? It's like 10-year ahead.
mm,
So we stopped that, and basically I joined job, and basically then with my batchmate we started a sort of e-commerce venture, right? But soon realized that basically the margins are very thin and you cannot sort of build upon bootstrapping, right? So we lost a lot of money. And that point of time we didn't understand what a scale means, right? But बस इतना था कि एक ऑनलाइन स्टोर डाल दिया है और बेसिकली वहां पे ऑर्डर्स आ रहे हैं. वी डिड वेरी वेल एक्चुअली विदाउट मार्केटिंग. वी डिड अराउंड 15,000 ट्रांजेक्शन इन अ ईयर without any marketing, right? But so we learn, so you build upon कि सॉफ्टवेयर क्या होता है, टाइमिंग सही होनी चाहिए, right? So that's one learning. And then you like sort of what is unit, what is unit economics. We have to be careful of that, otherwise how the cash get burns and things like that. So a lot of experiment, a lot of money lost, but a lot of learning, right? So how do you like get users attention without spending on advertising and things like that? So from there we built up, and साथ we were also doing sort of website design and development for other customers, right? And so then we started so after that e-commerce venture was like not profitable, right? So we just went into like, so now I'll tell you this story, right? So we were thinking ये एक एक रुपए कमा रहा हूं मैं इसमें, right? So if you want to like 1 lakh rupees to break even, you need to sell 1 lakh units, right?
mm,
So it will probably make sense that we move to the other side where the ticket size is bigger, right? So we went to real estate broking, क्योंकि online, right? So we generate leads online, then we give it to the developers, and because every transaction is like 1 lakh rupees,
mm,
right? And the effort is same. So we moved there for some time, and we did and try to raise fund as well. But the issue is that those kind of models will not scale,
mm,
right? We had a team, we had a product, we had traction, right? We had a traction,
mm,
but those things will not scale, right? So then I understood the scale kya hota hai. Like scale is something where you can like immediately should be, or in a very short time sort of, from 1 crore revenue to you can go to 100 crore revenue, right? So that acceleration is called a scale possibly. And so that was another learning. So that business is still running, and my partner is running it, but we get out of it and then we come into SaaS basically, which is inherently scalable.
right.
So, and you can make actually bigger impact in this sort of, with a mission to help, tier 2, tier 3 non-English speaking entrepreneurs come, bring their business online. So that is what drives us right now.
Can you tell us a little bit about the technology in place for the platform that you have built? The no-code website builders have been there in the internet for some
Yeah,
time.
okay.
Uh,
Well, so our thought process was very simple, that we should write a master algorithm, right, which can code a website. So if you look at all those no code players you're talking about, like in GoDaddy, you have 20 templates, you choose, then you edit,
mhm,
right? weeks may you have 30 beautiful templates to choose and edit, right? You do not have a choice, right?
Mhm.
So our idea was that we'll write a code which will write the code. Okay.
Okay.
So practically in the real time, we are building the template in second, and it's entirely different. Now, the problem with that happened is that the mathematically you can do like 10 billion designs,
Mhm.
right? And how do you, which one should we show it to you, right? So that is where we pick up the AI algorithm, because AI is very good at predicting behavior and sort of recommending, right? So our
Mhm.
AI engine is sort of a recommendation engine. So while you choose design, it shows you a couple of designs and try to predict what sort of design you will like. Like, so females will like sort of slightly color wala design and things like that, or somebody like a video sort of a design, somebody want a very simple design, right? So try to predict, right? So it has a map to start with, and then it starts showing you design, and based on your clicks, basically it is able to figure out कि ये आपको अच्छा लगेगा,
Mhm.
right? So I think टेक्नोलॉजी में ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि चलो यार अभी क्रिप्टो का हवा चल रहा है तो क्रिप्टो कर लेते हैं, right? You should have the solid use case of it, right? So eventually you arrive at the solution based on that, right? So that's how. And the tech is going very, very fast. And you cannot imagine, right? You just go to AWS, inside the AWS, and you will see कि कितना कुछ है, कितना कुछ है. You have voice with command you can do and things like that. So my advice to young entrepreneurs is that always be try to be at the edge of the tech.
Mhm.
और वो एज ऐसे भी 5 साल में चेंज हो जाएगा, you know. So if you're not there, you are actually already lacking, right? So have that interest, read about, you know, what is happening, and do not just follow the crowd कि अभी crypto चल रहा है तो चलो crypto का कुछ बना है. Until unless you're trying to solve a real problem, and that kind of technology can help, right? And though that thing investors also do understand, right?
Mhm. uh, you have been there in the internet industry for quite some time, and you have experimented with different internet businesses. Can you tell us which is a lucrative internet business that is happening right now, which young people can grab and you know
Well,
uh,
one thing I could say is that initially when the India's internet started shaping, right, it was like copying an idea from America or successful places, or possibly अब अमेरिका में हो गया, चाइना में हो गया, तो अब यहाँ पे करेंगे तो चलेगा. And investors were buying that thesis, right? Because there was not too much penetration. So when we started our first e-commerce, the other guy asked, ऐसा अमेरिका में हुआ है क्या? So that was the thinking, right? That we cannot create something from ground zero for India or for people, right? But now, after success of those first generation entrepreneurs on the internet, let's say Flipkart and things like that, and e-commerce businesses, now I think the time has come that India has got so many developers, right? And we understand software, right? We have been building software for other people, right? Now the understanding is developing. The entrepreneurs are matured. Now they can understand the things, and I think a lot of software, there are a lot of opportunities that we can build software from here and sell it across the world, right? So that current will opposite, right? So it will go from here, right? So to the market, because in the SaaS business, in the software business, you can sell it anywhere. We have got customers from Nigeria, New Zealand, UK, Australia. अपने आप आए, मैंने नहीं बुलाया, right?
mhm.
So still you are able to do transaction, right? So that's called scale, right? So I think a lot of SaaS businesses will be built from India, which will serve the world, right?
Okay. What are the different challenges that you have faced so far while building and growing different ventures?
I think the biggest challenge first you face is basically the finding the right co-founder, right? But I was fortunate in that because my brother was there, so we are quite sort of complementary skills, right? So he's good at maths, I'm bad at maths. I'm good at physics, he's bad at physics, sort of example, right? And so I think to actually bring a product to the market, people who are just totally technically inclined, right? I think you will need a support of somebody who understands human UI, UX, and marketing, right? Otherwise, when a guy does sort of coding and comes out with a product, everything in the backend works fine, right? But when the users encounter it, he is like not able to understand, right? So you need a guy who can make people understand what the product is, right? So if you do not have something like that, look out for them as soon as possible. Yeah. And find a person who can work with you for years, right? So that is the first challenge you will face. Second, when you will take your idea to the market thinking that everything is fine, and then the customers will not respond, right? So please understand that अगर पहली बार में आप कर ले जाते, राइट, तो सब लोग बन जाते ना, तो नॉट एवरीबडी बिकम सक्सेसफुल इन द फर्स्ट टाइम, राइट. सो देन यू हैव टू चेंज, ट्विक. पहले एक चीज आप कर सकते हो, आप खुद से ट्विक करो, राइट, और एनालिटिकली करो कि यहाँ तक आ रहे, यहाँ नहीं जा रहे. बट द बेस्ट थिंग यू कैन डू इज डायरेक्टली टॉक टू द कस्टमर, राइट. सो इवन इन SaaS, राइट, सो यू से कि स्केल तभी होगा ना जब मुझे कस्टमर से बात नहीं करनी पड़ेगी, सेल्फ सर्विस, दैट्स फाइन. बट व्हेन यू आर स्टार्टिंग आउट, इट विल ऑलवेज हेल्प यू बिकॉज दे विल टेल यू, राइट, कि मैं यहाँ पे गया, फिर मुझे समझ में नहीं आया कि मैं कहाँ पे क्लिक करूँ. That is an invaluable insight for us, right? And try and go and meet customers 10, 15, 100, right? So then your software will actually become superior to what is offered in the market, and which will match the requirement of the customer. And that is probably what is called product market fit, right? So, and it's a long and hard journey because it will keep on iterating, and you will get a lot of noise around the product. The people will give sort of point of views, not seriously, but just to demoralize you. Right. So you will understand when you kya ho raha hai, kya karna hai, nahi karna. So you have to take a judgment call and move on, basically. Yeah. And third is basically building teams, right? One thing the CEO does in the initial year when the founder sort of very creepy is that basically we try to do everything ourselves.
Right.
ठीक है, कॉपी भी मैं लिख देता हूँ, एड भी मैं चला देता हूँ, चलिए क्रिएटिव भी मैं बना देता हूँ. बट एक्चुअली में you have to slowly and diligently basically find people who are good at those things and hand over, especially when you have raised money, right? Because that is the purpose, right? So as a founder, or let's say in the management team, the CTO should be focusing on कि अभी कौन सी technology आ रही है, what's the path on tech, and the CEO should be focusing on कि what's going on in the market, right? Rather than looking inward, right? So as soon as you're able to sort of delegate your duties to the downstream, easier it will become.
Okay. As an entrepreneur, your schedules are usually hectic, and sometimes without improper time management, without proper time management, you get tired, restless, or you lose focus. So, can you tell us how do you manage your time? How does the calendar look like for you on a day-to-day basis?
So, well, I think startups are different. I work for billion-dollar companies also in London, and they are very structured and like sort of things. But startups are very different, right? It's very dynamic, right? So, but you have to just sort of keep aside some time for introspection on Saturdays. कि पूरे week में क्या हुआ, and discuss this with the team. So that time has to be blocked. Sometimes for thinking or reading, that has to be blocked. The rest of sort of come as goes, right? So so it's not like I'm sitting in my cabin and the team is there. I'm going and talking to them what's happening, because as soon as you get the pulse of the market, कि अब ये कर सकता है, अब ये कर सकता है, new ideas will keep on coming as you go deep down the network, right? So and it's like you just have to enjoy your work, right? So everything else will take care of itself, right? And give motivation to the team, ensure that nobody is like sad or something. Then why, connect with them at that deep level, and basically consider all your team as your family, right? So that's how the real energy is going to be unlocked.
What drives you to become an entrepreneur? I think with good education,
Well, for
you
me, see, certainly it is not about money. Okay, that I can say. What drives me is that you're trying to create a solution for large amount, masses of people who will benefit from that, right? So we studied a lot, and we have a nice resume, we went, तो उसका फायदा क्या हुआ? सिर्फ अपने लिए थोड़ी करना है, right? You have to create a solution set so that other people can also benefit, right? So that is the main drive, right? And money or valuation or whatever is a byproduct of it. You do not work for money. पैसे के लिए काम करना रहता तो I would have gone to America, right? Or to Saudi Arabia perhaps, right? But जब तक वो ड्राइव नहीं रहेगा ना, तब तक आपको मजा नहीं आएगा. Then you will not be able to sort of take the pain and still move on, right? Because पैसा के तो प्रॉब्लम आएगी आपको. No matter how much you raise, towards the end of that path, you will be thinking कि अभी क्या होगा, right? So many of the time my bank account has gone down to 1 rupees, then bounced back. So if that sort of drive is not there, it will become difficult. So find your drive. What do you want to do? I like to sort of explore things. I like to create things. which are beautiful. I like to create UIs which are useful. What is that? The inner thing which you want to do. So it's not about money at all. That I can certainly say.
What is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How do you define the term entrepreneur?
Well, no, that's a deep question because you just put in the word meaning there. I think entrepreneurs create value for the society, right? So it's about bringing something out of your skill set or your team to the market, which is useful for people, right? In a valuable sense. In return of that value, you might be financially rewarded, right? But your focus should be in generating that value. I think that's the true entrepreneurship, not sort of कि कुछ करके मतलब fake बेच रहे, right?
Hmm.
So the real value has to be there, and in return you will be hopefully rewarded.
My final question to you, tell us about the different lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which we can take away and apply to our ventures.
Well, it depends that clearly, I mean, I'll just give you a framework because there will be a lot of so when you're thinking about doing something, always think about what it is, right? Who it is for, and how big it can become, right?
Mhm.
Because if you do not answer these 2-3 questions, you will not be able to derive to a product market fit, nor will be able to scale it. क्योंकि आप कर दोगे 2-3 साल, राइट, उसके बाद आपको पता चलेगा ये तो स्केल ही नहीं हो सकता, इसलिए वीसी पैसा नहीं लगा रहा है,
Mhm.
right? If you want to go to that level of an impact, right? It depends. For many entrepreneurs, it's like livelihood and things like that. That's fine, right? But if you're from day one sort of thinking कि मुझे बहुत बड़ा impact करना है, right? बहुत बड़ा impact करना है, so you should be very careful to how the operations will happen. Who are the partners I should take, myself on board with, right? So you should be thinking like 3-4 years ahead in time, all the time. And because if the scale will come, right? If the scale will come, there will be new challenges. I'll give you an example. So one fine day in our e-commerce side, we got $1,000, right? Because it got viral for some reason. So posted on the forum, the people called people, and 1,000. It's like a real product market fit, right? But it was
Mhm.
mainly because of the price. So then, how do you pack all those orders? From where will you source all those products, right? Or एक दिन में कैसे करोगे? So you should
Mhm.
also be thinking about कि not always be worried about or cognizant of the fact कि मैं ये fail हो जाएगा, right? But always think कि अगर ये success हो गया, because you will never know, because you, right? Success अगर हो गया तब क्या करेंगे, you know?
Mhm.
So will my server scale? Is the code scalable? And a lot of things. So you have to always think about कि success case में भी आपको सोचना है, right? I think many entrepreneurs are optimistic, right? But when they hit the market gives it back, then you like कि नहीं हो रहा है, then like, down, 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 and suddenly the success will come. You have to always prepare for that, right? So you need a team, you need a strategy, you need capital. Capital is also important. So all these things, right? So in all of these aspects, you will get failures, but irrespective of that, you have to move on, right?
Well, on this note, I think we have come to the end of the discussion. Thanks for your time, Gaurav, and our best
Thank you,
wishes
Priya.
for Myra.
All the best for ELI.